Nola Motorsports Park, just southwest of New Orleans, once again opens its doors to the Fanatec GT World Challenge America Powered by AWS for the fourth round of the 2022 season. Yesterday saw K-Pax Racing flex its muscles, scoring a dominant 1-2 result, but the dominant team of the season so far finds themselves well down the starting grid for race number 2 of the weekend here today. Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Ryan Marine. Calvin Fish is alongside. Amanda Busick is in the pit lane for us. It is a hot day with temperatures right around 87 degrees Fahrenheit, and weather, Calvin, very well could be a big story for us to chronicle today.
That is the big unknown right now, but one thing we know for certain is that this racetrack is demonic in terms of the battles that we saw here yesterday. Expect the same today, and the grid is absolutely stacked with the pros starting here today. The top 6 hours of the grid, some of the best GT races on the global stage you'll ever see going to do battle here this afternoon.
Should be a ton of fun with the Pro and Pro-Am grids totally mixed up for race 2 of the weekend, and they will do battle on this 16-turn, 2.7-mile track. Let's see more about this track with our track preview.
Hi everyone, Robbie Foley here, driver number 96, Liqui Turner Motorsport BMW, and here we are for a lap at Nola Motorsports Park. Down to turn 1, 6th gear into one of the biggest passing zones, braking nice and late at around the 2 board, 3rd gear. Use all that track on the exit, but fight the car back to set up for turn 2, try to get it flat out. It's just flat out. Up to 5th gear here before turn 3, nice late braking. A lot of different lines here for turn 3. I try to pick up the throttle nice and early, tend to use all the track. 3rd gear, work your way back to the left for turn 4. Kind of a light brake, long corner here, but you want to set up for the exit. So nice and patient before you get to the throttle. Right to full throttle, 3rd gear, 4th gear, headed to turn 5. A lot of curb here on the exit in turn 5, fast corner, just a light brake in 4th. And then into turn 6, again, similar to turn 5, light brake. I'm a little wide of the apex there. And now to the high-speed S's here. We just touched 6th gear before braking down to 4th. Down to 4th gear as we head into the S's. Got to set this up like a slalom, getting behind each S to set up for the next one. Up to 5th gear, into the heavy braking of turn 12, down to 2nd gear. And then here I hook the curb in turn 13, helps turn the car a bit. And then into the last section is all about setting up for your run onto the front straight. So here we are, turn 16, the last corner. Get a nice early exit, early to the throttle. Right out to the wall there, and that's a lap around Nola Motorsports Park in our Turner Motorsport M4 GT3.
Thanks to Robbie Foley and Turner Motorsports for that high-speed tour of Nola Motorsports Park. Foley will start back in the 8th position overall, trying day yesterday, looking to rebound, and they've got a good piece to do it with the brand new BMW M4 GT3. That is a look at the car that Robbie Foley will be starting. Turner Motorsports, the team, and what a great battle he and Loris Spinelli had for a good portion of their stint yesterday, but it did not end well for this car.
It didn't. It was a sensational battle. I mean, Loris Spinelli has shown tremendous pace here this weekend. He'll start the race from the pole position here today, but they got their elbows out yesterday. Unfortunately, broke the suspension on Robbie's car.
And that car was in the middle of the interesting start to this race with Michael DINAN. As we look back on race 1 highlights, DINAN went around the outside of Spinelli's co-driver Stephen Agacani at the start. Agacani was ruled not to have gone at the beginning, and it was a clean move for DINAN to go around the outside. Problems, though, early. Charlie Luck into the side of Scott Smithson, and it was effectively day done for a number of cars right here.
Yeah, we understand Charlie picked up the brake and the throttle at the same time. This is the battle that was really sensational, and there we see Agacani going for a spin there, trying to make that move.
But then knifing back through the field. This car has been quick all weekend with Agacani as well as with Spinelli. Here we go, Cal, side to side, door to door.
Yeah, driver changes were made, and then as Foley on the outside, Spinelli roughs him up a little bit. He then opens up the door. Foley tries to fill it, and Spinelli tries to get to that apex there. They clash. Broken left front on Foley. His day is done. Spinelli would continue.
but wouldn't get the result they were quite possibly capable of. Wild restart here with just a couple of laps to go, and the Pro-Am battle was settled right here.
Yeah, Orblin felt a little bump there. Post-race comment said he got bumped out of the way, but it did open up the door there for Colin Brown to make a move, and suddenly Orblin went from the lead in Pro-Am all the way back to third.
Meanwhile, Brown went from third to first and ultimately to victory lane for CrowdStrike Racing and Riley Motorsports. Big win for him and his co-driver George Kurtz, and at the front, it was all K-Pax Racing, Andrea Caldarelli and his new teammate Michele Beretta, so strong as a brand new pairing. Lights off on the safety car, the rain starting to dissipate a little bit. Starting grid coming up on the screen. Spinelli and Altoe on the front row. Sellers and Brown, the winner in Pro-Am yesterday. Colin Brown will start fourth. Mario Farnbacher for Racer's Edge. And Andrea Caldarelli, the points leader, undefeated on the season, but will start back in the sixth spot. Jordan Pepper, his teammate for K-Pax, back in the seventh starting spot. Robbie Foley, the onboard camera we saw earlier, will start eighth. The rest of the grid will show up on the screen, but we are very close to going racing for race 2 of the weekend, round 4 of the championship at Nola Motorsports Park, and we are going into the unknown with wet conditions on one half of the track, dry on the other. Here we go, buckle those seatbelts. Boris Spinelli taking his way around turn 16 and approaching the VP acceleration zone. That will be the Mercedes to the left-hand side of the screen. Great qualifying effort for the Pro-Am class TR3 Racing Lamborghini of Giacomo Altoe. The field in alignment, just waiting for the green, and here goes Spinelli. He accelerates away. Great jump with the second row. Brian Sellers looking to grab second spot away from Altoe.
Yeah, he did a nice job there anticipating the start there, did Spinelli. He's got clear sailing down into turn 1. The racetrack is dry right now. Sellers side by side. Altoe sweeps across. Nice start there by Farnbacher. He slides into the 4th position.
That's the number 93, the red Acura NSX grabbing a spot. Now going on the attack. He'll throw it in deep on
move.
Sellers and make it work.
Gets down to the inside, keeps it together. Altoe looks okay there in second. Big scramble for traction down. Colin Brown looking for a way through in the CrowdStrike entry. That's the orange gray machine, middle of the screen right now. Here comes Jordan Pepper. He's got around Caldarelli.
Oh, great move by the South African to get around his teammate. Now he's attacking Colin Brown. He's stuck on the outside. That's the green Lamborghini around the outside of the Pro-Am Mercedes, the CrowdStrike Mercedes. Wow, look at the spray.
Full slide there from Pepper through turn 5. That was spectacular stuff. Trying to showcase who's the leading man in that K-Pax organization right now as he's got around his teammate, made another move on Colin Brown. Now he puts the pressure on Brian Sellers.
Pepper has made a name for himself in mixed conditions, had a great run at Spa a few years ago, the inaugural Indy 8-hour as well in a Bentley in wet conditions on dry tires. He was phenomenal. Now pouncing to the inside. He'll grab the spot away from Sellers.
Oh, that's putting it all on the line. Caldarelli gets inside of Colin Brown as well. These K-Pax Lamborghinis are on the move early.
Oh, what a great start for the K-Pax team. Victorious on home soil at Sonoma. The first 2 rounds of the championship coming this direction to Nola. Won the race yesterday with the black car, the number 1 car. They got some work to do. 1 lap complete. Spinelli by 0.5 of a second over Giacomo Altoe. And Mario Farnbacher, a big mover, to move to 3rd in the overall standings, but 2nd in Pro-Am. That's up 2 spots.
Yeah, and that Acura NSX is underneath Mario Farnbacher, is known to be good in these slippy conditions. So look for him in this first sector through turns 3 and 4. He's up there with the lead, as you can see, closing on the gap to the front of the pack.
Oh, side by side at the front. Giacomo Altoe taking the fight to the previously unassailable Loris Spinelli. Side by side they go and they stay door to door.
Almost a cut and paste situation what we saw with Spinelli and Robbie Foley here yesterday. This time they keep it clean. Farnbacher is probing, looking for the gap.
And keep in mind that Acura thrives in the wet. Slides it up the inside of Altoe. He'll grab 2nd overall and the Pro-Am lead.
Beautiful move there by Farnbacher on the attack, looking for the lead early.
To a couple of the Acura teams in the paddock, they all said, yep, bring on the rain. This car absolutely thrives in mixed conditions. That's what we have here at Nola Motorsports Park. 1.5 laps complete. Spinelli continues to lead, but he's going to have some company if Farnbacher can keep that car pointed straight. He's got his hands full.
Oh, that is really twitchy there, and that's through the dry part of the racetrack. Mario's just thinking, I've got to get close to Spinelli. I am quicker through that first sector, but Spinelli is scampering away a little bit.
Altoe does not like this one bit, dropping that top spot, and might not have had he not gone on the attack himself a few moments ago. That opened up the door, and Farnbacher needed no second invitation.
Spinelli now laying down the speed that he showcased here in practice on Friday and qualifying here yesterday. Monster margin in the practice session, had a 1.5 second gap over the field and 7/10 in qualifying here yesterday morning.
Side by side here, that's fully on brown, not for class position. Meanwhile, at the front, how about this? Farnbacher with the crowd strike fastest lap of the race that last time by, even as he did battle with Altoe.
That's incredible. Corey Lewis is having a really strong run, putting the pressure on Oberlin. Oberlin battles with DL for 5th.
And how about Jan Halen, who had to start in the last row? Yep. It looks like Oberlin also had a bobble, dropped out wide. That opened the door for Halen, who's now up a couple more spots.
Wow, incredible. Halen from the back of the grid, now inside the top 10, I believe.
He had to start back in 17th, a 5-place grid penalty due to the incident on lap 1 yesterday that car was involved in. Charlie Luck was driving at the time, but Jan Halen has recovered in a big way. Finds himself, I think now, close to the top 5 in class, if not there already.
Yeah, just a monster first couple of laps here for Jan Halen. Got his head down. The Porsches are renowned to be very good in the slick conditions. The majority of the weight over those rear driving wheels, of course, versus the front engine machineries around.
Well, we all wondered, how would this racetrack race? We've not seen high-level GT competition here in this track's history, and these first 5 minutes of race 2 have been breathtaking.
Just fantastic stuff. Spinelli, though, doing a nice job up front. He's got a gap of about 8/10 right now with Farnbach. Altoe's hanging tough as well. Seller's doing a really nice job as well up in the top 5.
And he did drop a couple spots there on that first lap. Qualified 3rd, now runs in 5th. This is the gap 1st to 2nd, and this is the advantage, frankly, we expected Spinelli to have.
Yeah, and I think if this racetrack stays dry, he's probably going to extend that margin. What he wants to do is hand it over to his teammate, Stephen Agakani, with a healthy gap and see if they can bring it home here.
Oh, but don't give up on K-Pax. Jordan Pepper just did the new crowd strike fastest lap of the race, and by a massive margin, a 1:36.9, the only driver in the 1:36 bracket in the entire field.
Well, they haven't shown that sort of pace all weekend long. Admittedly, had the pole yesterday when the AMs were qualifying, but out and out right pace, it seems like Mercedes had the edge, but they continue to work on the chassis setup with this Lamborghini Huracan, and it's looking strong right now.
We chronicled that bobble for Bill Oberlin. That cost him 3 spots. He's dropped to 13th, now 9th in Pro-Am. That won't sit well with him.
Yeah, on the verge of that Pro-Am victory yesterday, lost it on the final lap of the race. With that restart, and Colin Brown and Mario Farnbacher getting around him. What a rebound today, but so far it's going to be a tough sledding here for Billy Oberlin.
Leader in the AM class is an Ofrio Triarci, and he's currently out in front of Michael Cooper for real-time racing on what has been not the easiest of weekends for real-time. We talked to Erin Vogel, Michael's co-driver, earlier today, and she said, you know what, we got a little lucky yesterday to finish in 5th. We're still scratching our heads, can't quite get this car to do what we want it to do.
Well, the car is just edgy, and by that I mean it's a bit on a knife edge in terms of when you come through some of these corners, you're wrestling it. Never really takes a set. You never feel comfortable with it. And Michael Cooper is saying that when you put someone with Erin Vogel's limited experience relatively to some of the pros in this field, it's going to be a real handful. So she's done a great job of just taking it in her stride, recognizing, listen, we've got to keep tweaking on the race car. Ideally, for an AM partner, you want a car that's consistent. You're not messing with the setup too much. Just go out and drive, lay down your lines, find the confidence in the race car, see where the grip is, and go do your deal. But it's really been a bit of a wretched time for this group in terms of the first 2 weekends. Testing, the car felt rock solid, but when they got to race weekends, they can't seem to find the sweet spot.
Yeah, they've got some testing planned at Road America near the team's base in Milwaukee later on this year. Maybe some other testing too, depending on the circumstances. Meanwhile, running 2nd overall, but leading in Pro-Am is Mario Farnbacher, and Mario's teammate is with Amanda.
Flash in the booth has been marveling at the performance you've had here this weekend. And we tried to come interview you yesterday after qualifying, but you'd already run off to get ready for another series. But you said to your team, I don't know how I did that. What are you on this weekend?
Well, I've definitely had my laps around the track, and sometimes as drivers, I feel like we work so hard for a perfect lap, and sometimes it's hard to get that. So whenever you do get to put a perfect lap together, you just come in, and the only feedback you can give your team is, I'm not sure, but I did it. And so Mario's been a great coach, and working with him throughout the academy and then coming into full season SRO, it's been a joy. This car does so well here, as we can tell, and I'm looking forward to getting in.
One of the variables that could present itself, and I know you can see it, the dark clouds that are looming. Does that change your approach to your stint?
No, my approach is to stay in the front and keep moving forward. You know, we deserve a win. I feel like we can win, and whatever ends up happening on track with weather, I'm just going to take what I can with it and move forward.
Thank you, Ashton.
She's been opening a lot of eyes in multiple series throughout the course of this 2022 season. Laura Spinelli has led from the drop of the green flag. Briefly came under attack from Mario Farnbacher, but has since built a bit of a gap. But I must say, Calvin, in recent laps, it started to come down. It was around 6 seconds. Now it's under 5.
It is. So he hasn't been able to streak away like what we thought he would. Had that huge margin by 7/10 in qualifying. So that's kind of been curtailed a little bit by the competition or just the longer green flag run. Sometimes you set a car up to give you that one-lap spike in performance. And if the driver can match that when the tires come in, boy, you could be in a different stratosphere in terms of lap time. He did that here this weekend. But right now, just keeping it clean. Just trying to set the table for Stephen Agakani to maybe bring it home. But I think there's going to be some really fascinating battles when the AMs get on board these Pro-Am entries. Ashton Harrison has been so impressive. Amanda spoke to her a little bit earlier. Then you got Ziad Gandor going to jump aboard the 9 car, taking over from Altoe. And then think about Smithson. He's going to get in that 3rd place car in Pro-Am for Sellers. Maybe he can even move a little bit further up the order potentially, but going to be a lot on the line here.
No question about it, and we are approaching that pit window. What are you expecting to see when it opens up?
Well, I expect these pros to go deep into that window, so anticipate maybe another 15 minutes of running potentially for the pros behind the wheel right now. So this is going to be a great second half of the race as well. Seems like the race has settled down a bit. We saw all of the fireworks there with the wet first sector of this racetrack and people jostling around and putting all on the line. Now it's settled down a bit. See Oberlin, he has not let Halen get away. Halen has caught Colin Brown there a little bit. Foley a little bit further up the road.
This has to be a bit frustrating for Bill because it looked like he got a little wide. I don't know, he might have had some help. That was really early on in this race and dropped a few spots and has been trying to recover ever since. He ran this group down, turning some of the fastest laps in the race, but has not been able to go on the attack. And frankly, I think it speaks to the level of driver you have in these pros. Speaking of the pros, first of all, in the pro lineups, but certainly in Pro-Am as well, where they're so equal and the BOP is so equal, it makes it very difficult to make a move.
It does, and also in these GT3 cars develop a lot of downforce from that front splitter, from the front dive planes, and when you're following close proximity like these drivers are right now, it's taken away a little of the effectiveness on the nose. We saw Oberlin getting a big understeer through 15 on a couple of laps. Oh, look at that, really wide there, just trying to battle that understeer, getting on the front straightaway, got out in the grey a little bit at that time.
That's a corner that he's been succeeding at, courtesy of our race vision powered by AWS. You saw the turn speeds at turn 16, which is that final corner, and it leads to that launch onto the front straightaway where the BMW seems so strong. Might have just slightly overstepped the limits there. It was a heart in your throat kind of moment, but he was able to corral it and continue on. Meanwhile, Robbie Foley continuing to chase Sellers. Dirk Muller has come into the pit lane. I just got an update from the DXDT team saying they thought they had a tire losing pressure, a right rear, and this is costly because it's just before the pit window opens, which means they're going to have to come in again.
Wow, what a tough weekend again for this group. The 63 car in particular had drama here yesterday, had a problematic opening round of the championship at Sonoma as well.
First taker to the pit lane, Madison Snow for Zelus Motorsports. They will be the earliest to come within this window. Change in position. Must have been a few laps ago, but Bill Oberlin has gotten around Robbie. That was for 5th in Pro-Am. So you see the BMW leading the Porsche here.
These two drivers have been tied at the hip as Oberlin now peels off the pit lane. In all sorts of championships, they seem to go hard up against it.
You're right about that. They do seem to find each other. Bill Oberlin to pit lane, as we said. That's the Bimmer World team, and Chandler Hull is his co-driver. And for them to come in this early, that is a vote of confidence in Chandler's pace.
Yeah, he's been really impressive. Got off to a rocky start, testing the brand new car at a big shunt at VIR. Looks like their program is going to be curtailed, as Caldarelli is in as well.
Also in, yes, Caldarelli, and then we see Corey Lewis pit. He'll be turning that car over to Jeff Burton. They're running a little further down in the order. But this is that orchestrated ballet of a pit stop in Fanatec GT. Just the one air gun, a couple of tire carriers, tire changers, the fueler, and of course the driver change going on. They'll drop the car off the jacks. It sits and it waits. That's typically a good sign. They just don't want to leave the pit lane too early and run afoul of pit lane delta. They'll cross that timing beacon right where they want to be. They'll use their joker. I don't believe they did yesterday. They should be in good shape.
Great shape.
That's US Racetronics. That's Spinelli, the leader in the pit lane. Farnbacher stays out.
Yeah, they're really trying to manage this race to the ultimate level there, with Farnbacher getting one more lap. The key is with doing what we call the overcut, the tires are performing, so you're not losing a lot of lap time from tire performance.
That's a great point. Sellers also stays out, so they will be due in the next time around. Here's the driver change for the race-leading car, Loris Spinelli. What a great opening stint from pole, and now his very young teammate will climb in. But, oh, is there a problem with the wheel gun?
I thought there was.
That sounded like it was being applied for a long time.
Let's not forget, last time Spinelli led from the pole, they had drama at Sonoma.
That does not look right.
There's an issue going on with that gun for some reason.
Oh. Can't get the wheel off. The air gun simply not getting the job done.
See, the nut stays with the wheel, and they got some kind of issue with the spindle. Unbelievable.
For the dominant team of the weekend, it appears to all be going wrong. They do bring over a spare tire. They do get that one fastened, but this will be a lengthy, lengthy delay. Here comes the Beretta car sweeping through. That will be into the race lead. The sister K-Pax car emerges in second.
Yeah, that's Misha Goigberg now aboard the green Lamborghini Huracan. Ziad Gandor aboard the number 9, the white Lamborghini Huracan coming out of pit lane. And finally, Stephen Agani gets released. So I'm not sure if there was a problem with the wheel going on, and the mechanic said, no, we can't use this wheel. They had drama at Sonoma, where they believe one of the shims out of the upright was coming loose and literally lathed a line inside the wheel, and ultimately cut down the tire, cut down the wheel, and lost tire pressure.
It should have been 1 minute and 19 seconds, instead 1 minute and 55 seconds. Absolutely gutting for US Racetronics, the race leaders in the dominant car of the day.
I thought there was an issue going on with the left front. That
I did
didn't look
too.
to be clean, did it? And then suddenly they got to the right front, and another problem. So
no, I had the same thought. I mean, you could. There's a normal cadence to a pit stop that you hear, and it didn't seem right.
I wonder whether the gun, because the nut stays with the wheel, so I wonder if he damaged the gun on the left front tire change, and then that damage putting the fresh one on, and he didn't like the look of it or couldn't get it tightened.
Well, we'll have to see if we can sort that one out at some point. This is Racer's Edge. They kept Mario Farnbacher out until the last possible moment. Now they made the driver change to Ashton Harrison. And she crosses the line within 1 second of the target. And they, I don't think, have used their joker, so that should be fine.
Here she comes. She's got the lead.
Oh, my goodness. So Mario Farnbacher staying out. The fact that the Pirelli's held up well enough to continue to give him good pace and quick pit work has put the 93 not just in the Pro-Am lead, but in the overall lead.
Fantastic stuff. She just needs to be talked to now. Calm her down. Settle in. Hit your marks. Find your rhythm.
Change in position, possibly there. No, I think that's DINAN holding off Chandler Hull as a couple of BMW teams square off. Turner and Bimmer World right there. That is for 8th and 9th overall. DINAN 3rd now in the Pro Class. Hull runs 6th in Pro-Am. 35 minutes to go in race 2 of the weekend from Nola Motorsports Park, and Ashton Harrison leads overall. pit window has cycled through. Ashton Harrison, Racer's Edge, leading the way. MICHELE BERETTA, though, is starting to turn on the juice. He has run her down over the last couple of laps. The gap is down under 1 second.
Not sure if she laid the rubber down coming off that final corner, but certainly looked like the car was drifting a little bit and may have just matched up some rubber marks that were already there. But she is certainly putting the pressure down. There's John Meraki looking on with Mario Farnbacher in the backdrop as he cools himself down. Just tremendous performance by this team. They're another team that made the big jump like Bimmerwald have this year from GT4 competition up to GT3 and had immediate success. Won a championship with Trent Hidman a couple of years ago, and before that they had success in Marcelli and Barkey. Just really at home with this Acura chassis, and I think they did great work by developing this GT3 Academy program with HPD and this NSX car to really sort of like pave the way for drivers like young Ashton to step into one of these cars, get the experience in testing before they make their race debuts.
To your point, they won that Silver Class Championship with Trent Hidman and Shelby Blackstock in 2020. They won the Silver Teams Championship that year as well. And that was with a lineup of two relatively experienced drivers. The last 2 years they've been running Academy graduates, and John Meraki said,
"Ooh, this is tight, this is tight.
We have to recalibrate our expectations a little bit," but he takes such pride in watching his youngsters succeed, and that's what he's doing right now, as Harrison is doing a masterful job working through lap traffic.
Well, she's obviously not listening to me when I said just let him get to you and go about his way, but she wants this overall win, and really nice job there cutting through traffic. Putting it all on the line, but certainly a little bit of risk there.
It's a good little team based 35 miles north of Orlando, 23 miles west of Daytona. They ran at Sebring in the 12-hour race there earlier this year, and of course we'll be back at Sebring with us later on in the season. Ashton Harrison has that 93 out in front overall, but here comes the young Italian, MICHELE BERETTA, who is going to be making a name for himself, I suspect. He's had some good runs in some of the second tier, I guess you might say, championships in Europe. Not some of the big name ones, but has been in there with Lamborghini, made a name for himself within the mark, and could be a driver on the rise.
Yeah, what a weekend it could be for Caldarelli. He comes into this weekend with a tie in the championship lead with his former teammate, Jordan Pepper, and he's just had the upper hand as now we see Chandler Hull battling out here with Charlie Luck down at the inside. So Luck's been bumped back a couple of spots after that yeomanship drive that Jan Halen did in the opening stanza there.
Halen was masterful, wasn't he?
Yeah, just super impressive. And Jan Halen at 41 years old was very much in the sweet spot of his career, I feel. I mean, he was a young man who had a ton of talent. As we now see the battle for the overall lead. Beretta down to the inside into 13. Ashton lets him go.
That was smart driving, as you've talked about. This is not for class position. This does put K-Pax back into the overall lead, and that's remarkable in and of itself. That's the car that started 6th here today, and now is out in front once again. But still, Harrison, Farnbacher, and Racer's Edge are in a position, if they can hold it, they'll be on the top step of their class podium in 32 minutes.
Yeah, this is good stuff. She just now needs to settle in, see if she can learn anything here. You know, following Beretta, see if he's able to roll a bit more speed, but don't take any chances. Don't try and find something at this stage of the weekend that you don't really need to still score the win.
Well, let's take a look at what was the crucial moment in this race thus far. The pit stop that saw the race effectively ruined for US Racetronics after such a dominant start.
Yeah, there's an issue there. And then it's like they want a different wheel for some reason. Suddenly there's another, so I think the Chipper's a scrubber's got a sticker still on there. I'm not sure if it's actually been on the racetrack before. My concern is then, was that tire prepped and had the right tire pressure to go on the car at this late stage? And then they go to the rear, just a disaster.
And keep in mind, we saw a delay at the left front even before that as well. Amanda, what do you know?
Well, we were here during that pit stop, and what we're told by the team that actually the left wheel nut was on that front right tire, so it just made it for an impossible change. There was a ton of emotion here during that pit stop. I do want to point out that Stephen Agagahani in that car, his eyes were darting around trying to figure out what was happening as well. So you have to imagine he had to also calm himself down and collect himself for his stint. Laura Spinelli here has been rather speechless since he got out of the car, and you were shaking your head, kind of throwing your hands up. How difficult difficult is this to process, Loris?
Honestly, I'm really frustrated because yesterday the our pace was really strong, but we wasn't able to pass the BMW. And today I start from the pole, I opened the gap, I felt really strong, I was getting my pace without destroying the tire. So I was really happy. We have to bring back as much as possible point for the championship.
Thanks, Amanda. Thanks, Loris. And as you can see, problems for Michael DINAN. We saw from the onboard shot with Stephen Agakani that DINAN just ran wide all of a sudden. Appears to be a problem with that BMW, and he has crawled to a stop with under 30 minutes to go. It's not been the smoothest weekend for Turner either.
Good battle there. We're looking at the front of this little pack as Smithson has chased down Ziad Gondor. So this is a battle for positioning for second and third with Ashton Harrison way down the road. On board here with Foley. Excuse me, yes. Suddenly loses drive. Lost drive.
Yep. So that's what Michael DINAN was dealing with. Just from listening to that, any idea what that could be?
Something inside the transmission or half shaft or something. Suddenly he just had no drive as he came down the gearbox and then went back to power through turn 3.
Now, and early into the day for Michael DINAN, Robbie Foley, Turner Motorsport. After they were mixing it up at the very front, had a great duel yesterday with Loris Spinelli that also saw their race in early. Tough pill to swallow. Back
this
to
is a great
fight.
battle. Let's focus in here. This is a battle from Ziad Gondo back to Chandler Hull there. That's for second, third, fourth, and fifth in Pro-Am.
Oh, Chandler Hull just into the inside of George Kurtz, and he got it done. That was commitment, no question about it. Next up for Chandler Hull, Scott Smithson.
He's got the bit between his teeth right now. Looking for their second podium run here this weekend. On the verge of a victory yesterday until the dying moments of the race when Colin Brown got around Bill Oberlin late in the going. Oh, as he heads off. Straight through on the brake zone at turn 13, 14. Back on the racetrack. Look at this little schmozzle. Agakani tried to figure his way through this puzzle. That got a bit crazy.
Yes, it did. Gondor somehow able to gather it back up. He didn't lose his spot, but Hull got a great run off of turn 16. Now it's BMW and Lamborghini drag racing towards turn 1, and behind, two Mercedes doing battle as well.
Yeah, Kurtz and Smithson deep into the brake zone there. George down to the inside with the crowd strike entry takes the position away. So Gando down to third, Kurtz up to fourth.
Great stuff. In the Pro-Am class, and then the cat amongst the pigeons is Agakani trying to recover in that US Racetronics car. We're on board with him here, watching out at his windshield as the battle for second, third, and fourth in Pro-Am unfolds in front of him.
This car's been hooked up, but so with Foley out, this promotes Agakani up to third in the Pro class, but second is Goldberg, who's about 15 seconds down the road. So 26 minutes to go. I mean, it's not impossible.
That was a big move from Agakani. We saw it on board, just threw it up the inside of Kurtz and had to catch it on the way out of the corner. I think George played nice with him and made sure that move worked.
Yeah, and you know Agakani's got to be frustrated after that pit stop. Second weekend this year that they've had an issue during a pit stop and wheel change.
Well, and to that end, what's going through your mind as a driver, and how do you purge those negative thoughts that can impact how you do your job?
Late move there by Charlie Luck.
Let's watch this replay. This is the move we watched from on board. Woo!
Yeah, that was cool. That was putting it all on the line. George may be not thinks it's so cool.
Yeah, and again, all credit to George Kurtz. I think he might have had to lift a little bit to make sure they both escaped on the other end of that corner. Here comes Agakani working on Gondor now, headed into turn 1. Not for class position, but trying to clear some of this Pro-Am traffic, and he gets it done with ease.
He does. Yeah, that Mercedes is really hooked up.
Wild stuff with 25 minutes to go. Nola Motorsports Park near New Orleans. MICHELE BERETTA out in front. Stephen Agakani trying to recover from a miscue in the pit lane. Currently running in third. Oh, and Luck is off. Is this a spin, or is there something wrong with the car?
He hasn't had much luck this weekend.
Not living up to the name, is he?
Right.
Now he's got it going again. Keep in mind, we have had some rain, so this grass could be quite slippery. This is what happened. Oh!
Well, that was turn 13 again. Oh, just 3 and a 2 didn't work there. So Ziad keeps overcharging the brake zone for turn 13. And George tried to get inside him. Charlie saw an opportunity to go to the right of him. They all sort of met on the exit of the corner. That'll be a tough one to judge on. Here's our AM leader, SCARDINA behind the wheel.
Continuing to lead in the AM class as they did yesterday. SCARDINA and Onofrio Triarsi taking their first win of the season yesterday. And on pace to do it again. JC Sada driving now for of course, the other AM class car, but a little ways down the road at this point. Now it might just be about survival as the conditions fluctuate and potentially worsen. Here we go. The fight is on. Second place in Pro. Goldberg in the green Lamborghini has it, and here comes Stephen Agakani.
He's literally flying right now. Just got the confidence in the race car, flashing his headlights, trying to distract Misha. Misha moves to the middle of the road. He's not going to give it up easy. But I mean, that Mercedes is just carving the corners, just seems to have tremendous grip. It's going to be a tough fight here with a lot of time still on the board.
Yeah, Agakani was over 2 seconds quicker that last lap, but now can he translate that pace into a passing opportunity? Looking to go the long way around, possibly now the crossover attempt. But the track's going to bend back the other way, side to side they go.
And this is where the Mercedes is so good. It just seems to tuck its nose and maintain that tight radius through a lot of these switchbacks.
On board is young Californian Stephen Agakani. Goes to work. Using up all of that curbing on exit. That was given the okay this weekend. Race control. Whoa, Goldberg dropped the wheel. He had his hands full. Does that open the door? Here comes Agakani with a head of steam, but he needs to get this sorted before they get to the S's.
Oh,
and he does.
Goldberg's in the marbles, nearly off the road there.
Wow.
Yeah, he was trying to scramble in kind of recovery mode, so looked like he's doing a really nice job and just missed his mark slightly there. Agakani pounced. Suddenly Goldberg was off the line a little bit, and there's a ton of rubber laid out there, these marbles that form throughout the course of the race. It's like having a pencil eraser and just those little shavings that you see on your paper when you're doing your homework. Going back a few decades for me when I did that, but that's what it's like with these tires around this racetrack.
Another look at it here. That's the dropped wheel.
Oh, that's turn 5 there. And that just gets him out of his rhythm a little bit. Agakani's got the momentum, slices it down to the inside as they approach turn 8. Goldberg's trying to turn in, but it just stays out wide there, and I think he just got in the grey. And this is a really tight battle on the racetrack right now. This is the 4th in Pro-Am. Ziad has just been driving really aggressively in terms of charging the brake zones, trying to keep everyone behind him. Having a really strong run. He's had fun here today. And Smithson, we've seen it before. We saw it at St. Pete, remember, that he had a lot of pace, but just really try to manage the traffic situations and make the right moves. I feel that if he's got something to really work on, it's just that racecraft of how to make some passes.
Well, he's still very new to this. Most of his experience has come in front-wheel drive touring cars, and now making the jump to GT3, there is going to be a learning curve, and having a team like DXDT.
Here we go.
Yep, slide
really
there.
loose there, coming off the final corner.
Side by side, the run down to turn number 1. Scott Smithson fighting with Ziad Gondor for 4th. Battle for 4th underway into turn 1. Scott Smithson up the inside of Ziad Gondor and gets that place. But Calvin, that started back in turn 16.
It did. Ziad Z-Hog, he's done some rallying in his career and was pretty much drifting that car through the final corner. He'll take another look at it. Watch as he turns in here. Rear end steps out. He hangs in there with it, but allows Scott to just get to the inside, get the power down a little bit earlier, gets the momentum, gets the track position. Nothing Ziad could do at this point. Tries to hang tough there, but Scott really managed this very nicely into the brake zone, and maybe he can take off a little bit here.
White flag has already flown for Michele Beretta, who has stepped into this K-Pax team starting this weekend and looked right at home immediately. Andrea Caldarelli did the qualifying for this race, only good enough for 6th. had a good opening stint, but the pit crew did their job, and then Beretta hopped in ultimately in the second place overall, ran down Ashton Harrison and made that pass to put this car back out in front, and it looks like it's on its way for its fourth consecutive, this season at least, overall win in this championship, and with two different driver lineups across those 4 races.
And a lot of pressure on Beretta's shoulders, right? Coming in with a championship winning team alongside a driver who's already leading the championship, having scored 2 victories, but he's not really missed a beat. Just stepped into that position, and I'm sure he's going to get stronger as this season unfolds.
An impressive drive from the Italian, Michele Beretta, taking it through turn number 16, and now just the run to the start-finish line. K-Pax Racing, Andrea Caldarelli, and Michele Beretta stay perfect. They sweep the weekend at Nola Motorsports Park.
Here's Andrea. Congratulations all the way around, guys.
Here's the AM class winners with Triarsi Competizione taking the checkered flag, Charlie Scardina and Onofrio Triarsi winners for the second straight day. Another sweep of the weekend in the AM class. And right behind, Ashton Harrison brings it home. Racers Edge Motorsports, their first win of the season. Harrison and Mario Farnbacher pick up the win for John Meraki's Florida-based team.
Just awesome weekend for her. Had a couple of runner-up finishes. Super Trofeo this weekend, runner-up yesterday. And the big win, I mean, that is outstanding. Mario did his job at the beginning, putting it all on the line in those tricky conditions. The Acura really excels when there's a little bit of dampness, and he leveraged that to get the track position, and Ashton just did not put a foot wrong.
Results provisionally from race 2 of the weekend. Michele Beretta and Andrea Caldarelli up on top, and Caldarelli stays perfect in 2022. But the Pro-Am winners, story of the day quite possibly, Mario Farnbacher and Ashton Harrison completing a busy weekend that saw her stand on the podium 4 times across 2 different series and picked up the class win. Spinelli and Agacani, what might have been still a strong drive to recover, they end up in the 2nd spot in Pro and 3rd overall. Look at the teams there represented within the top 15, and it's a nice mix of these various teams that make up this championship. Others had some lesser fortune, but at the end of the day, K-Pax Racing and Racers Edge, as well as Triarsi Competizione, will be celebrating on Bourbon Street tonight.
Well, Michele, it's 2 wins for you here this weekend in this new partnership with Andrea Caldarelli. And what, coming into this weekend, what led you to think that this was possible?
Honestly, I didn't expect it to be like that perfect, let's say. We missed a little bit in the Q2 with Andrea, but it was very difficult for him. And he did a very good job in the first part of the race. I think was one of the most tricky part of the race, and he closed the gap with the cars in front, and we did a perfect strategy with the team. We pit earlier than everybody, and then we undercut it, and then I managed the pace. I mean, nothing better than this, so I have to thank Andrea for everything and all the team for the good job.
Congratulations on a great weekend, guys. Ashton, from everyone in the booth, from your team, talking about the weekend that you've had, just marveled at the job that you did. When you replay this weekend back in your mind, what will you think of?
Well, every team has the chance to come out here and drive the track and get familiar with it. And pulling double duty this weekend, it benefited because I got more laps. But at the end of the day, the cars are different. So just like everyone else, I had to learn the GT3 here at NOLA. And it fits well. I had a great time. My team is so incredible. My teammate does an amazing job every time he's in the car, and our pit stops are perfect. So I'm so thankful for this. And to be honest, I didn't really even know that when Jim, our engineer, came over the radio and had said, okay, you're leading, and I was like, oh, really? Like, I knew we were somewhere in the lead. I didn't know we were overall, so it was a really cool moment.
Well, it is a Triarsi Ferrari that sweeps the weekend here at Nola Motorsports Park, and as we look down the road to VIR, what did you guys learn this weekend that you think will help there?
Patience. Patience. This track had a lot of slow corners that if you got on a power low too early, it was a lot of understeer, so for me, patience was the key.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What a great weekend it was at NOLA. K-Pax reigns supreme. For Amanda and Cal, I'm Ryan. So long. Thanks for joining us here in NOLA.